Welcome back. We've survived the All-Star break. NBA is back. It's coming back to just a two-game slate today, but still some is better than nothing, so go ahead and break it down for you guys. So let's get started. As always, please you guys to the like button, see if we can get 150 likes on the video. Be appreciated. You can check out Twitter for updates at the DFS process. Check out the website, dfsprocess.net. There's some promos going on if you want to check them out. And let's get started. So looking at the point guard options, we got two games. It's got a couple of studs, Luka, Westbrook, Morant, and DeJounte Murray. Four top-end options, two above 10,000. Out of the two above 10K, you have Luka, who's been fine all season. He's been putting up his fantasy points, 60, 50s, and 133, which was pretty bad, but that was against the Sixers, which is a pretty good defense. He just gives you a ton of upside. The matchup is solid against the Spurs. A lot to like with Luka. And there's a lot to like with Westbrook as well. He's been really turning it around. He started off the season pretty poor. Like people were playing him and he wasn't getting you over 40. Now he's been getting you 50s and 60s recently. He's been getting back to his triple-double ways with flirting with a ton of triple-doubles, getting a ton of assists, rebounding at a high rate. And it's a really good spot against Memphis. This game has the much higher total than the Mavs game, so I feel like you could definitely make an argument to go Westbrook over Luka. It's the way he's been playing and the type of matchup and the pace that this game will be played at. These teams just played and it ended up being a 236 total. Westbrook went for 58 on 8 of 16 shooting. I think he looks like a guy that we can definitely get to at 10,100. Other guys that look good at point guard are definitely Ja Morant. He's 7,800. You definitely want to make an argument to run it back if in this game if you play Westbrook. Morant's playing big minutes. He's had a couple of his best games of the season to round out before the All-Star break against the Washington Wizards and against the Milwaukee Bucks. And now he's going back to facing the Wizards at home, where he's done a lot better so far this season. So I think I can get to both point guards in this game and feel good about probably getting like 120 plus, around like 120 DraftKings points combined between those two. That would be ideal, or at least 110. And then DeJounte Murray looks all right as well. The Spurs are going to be a bit tricky now that they're getting like all their players back. A ton of them were out due to protocol reasons, but now they're all healthy. We don't know what kind of starting lineup Pop might roll out. He was starting Trey Lyles, and he was playing really well, and I assume that he'll continue to start. Aldridge's been coming off the bench, so he's like one guy that we don't have to really consider at 55 just because he's coming off the bench and getting their players back. Rudy Gay, Keldon Johnson, etc. is not going to help him. He's not been playing good all season, and Pop's kind of stepped up and put him on the bench. So I really have no interest in him at 55. And you have Pirtle, who looks better than Aldridge at 6,000. He's like Aldridge's been backing him up the last couple of games. He was in foul trouble against OKC. He can foul at times, but 6K is still a pretty good price tag against the Mavs, who play somewhat big with Porzingis and Maxey. And then they also got Derek White back, so we'll see if they start him or Lonnie Walker. I think White might still come off the bench, but the Spurs are tricky. Besides a couple of pieces like DeRozan, and then if Trey Lyles starts again, and then maybe if you're feeling good about Derek White, the rest of them it's just tough to get to. Keldon Johnson is cheap, but he's 5,100 coming off the bench, so that's not the most appealing. And then DeJounte Murray is also in play just because he's been playing good, and I feel like he's going to get his minutes. But I've got like 3 or 4 Spurs that look all right, but the rest are kind of tricky for now. And then other guys at point guard, I don't. If you wanted to go super cheap here, you have Justice Winslow, who I do like. You can play him at point guard or small forward. I'd probably play him at small forward just because point guard does have some good options with Westbrook, Morant, DeJounte, and Luka. So I think Winslow looks good at the small forward spot. Go ahead and plug him in. He's $3,900. Starting to get some good minutes here. Still around the 20s, so I'll assume he'll stick in the low to mid-20s minutes. They are still without Grayson Allen, which is going to help Winslow's minutes just because they're going to be starting Desmond Bane, and Winslow can easily close over Bane. He also fouled out last game. He looks really good at 3,900. One of the better priced players. I mean, the entire Grizzlies team is priced nicely, but Winslow is definitely one of the better ones. Moving on to shooting guard, Bradley Beal's been also having an exceptional season. You could even make an argument to play him over Westbrook if you wanted to. He gives you a lot more scoring. Peripherals aren't going to be there all the time, so if you're looking for triple doubles, go to Westbrook. If you're looking at a guy that might be able to drop 40, 45, you can go ahead and play Beal. This type of matchup, both can do well. I think I just like to go to Westbrook just because I think he can get to a monster triple-double, and Bradley Beal could do that, like, could have, like, 50, 60 drafting points, but it's going to come mainly on scoring, so you're going to need him to hit a ton of shots, which he definitely can do, but I just feel a little bit better about Westbrook. And then Brunson is 57. I know he's been playing better, but I don't really want to pay this much for him. So he's not really a guy I'm looking at. I'd rather go to Dillon Brooks, who had an incredible game to close out the first half of the season. Put up 50 and a half with 6 stocks, even though he shot 7 of 20. So very impressive because normally if you get that type of shooting game out of Brooks, you're probably looking at like 22 drafting points. But he had an all-around good game. Great spot against Washington. Definitely want to get pieces of this game. So he's a guy that definitely looks appealing. Then you have Derek White. I don't know if he's going to come off the bench or not. I would assume he would. But if they happen to put him back in the starting lineup, then I would feel I would feel a lot better about him. Spurs right now are tricky just because they have so many players that are going to be playing. Josh Richardson, 4,900. Having a really bad season shooting. He's shooting under 30% from 3, making a lot of his free throws, but not been able to knock down the 3 ball, which is what they're sorely missing with trading away Seth Curry for Josh Richardson. Hasn't really worked out for the team. He's cheap, I can give him that, but I think there's a couple better plays. If you wanted to go down in the low 4K range, you can look to Desmond Bane, who's 4K exactly. You probably see a lot of these players on the Grizzlies play like mid-20s minutes. Wouldn't be shocked if Bane is going to be one of them. He's been playing more minutes and been starting in place of Grayson Allen. He's a great shooter, so that's a good reason to play him next to guys like Morant and Dillon Brooks. He didn't play just because it's a 2-game slate. There's not a ton of value. And then I don't have interest in anybody else here. Guy I would definitely make a case for is Dillon Brooks. Just because he's only 5,400, gonna be one of the few Grizzlies that get over 30 minutes. So his minutes should be there. Matchup is one of the better ones you can ask for, and still gives you some sort of ceiling as he's shown. Moving on to power forward, it's Porzingis and DeRozan as the 2 pay-up options. I like DeRozan here, 8,000. He's just been consistent all season. He's been their best player. Aldridge moving to the bench is probably going to help. DeRozan has helped him the last couple games. He's kind of been doing what he's been doing all season recently. But Aldridge was taking a lot of shots in the starting lineup, throwing up a lot of bricks. So DeRozan's going to get more shot attempts. Took 21 and 2 out of the last 3 games before the break. And then they had a huge win against the Knicks where he didn't have to do much. But his minutes are going to be one of the higher ones on the team. Like, don't know how much Derek White will play or Lonnie Walker, but DeRozan, you can pretty much pencil him in for at least 34, 35, probably even a little bit more. With just coming out of the All-Star break, should be fresh. He looks really good at 8,000 at power forward. You could make a case for Kyle Anderson at 63, but I like a couple of other Grizzlies over him. It's based on the price tag. I'd rather go to Brooks. I'd rather go to Winslow. I'd rather go to John Morant. Yeah, Brendan Clark also at 5,200. Like, he's going to play mid-20s minutes at least. Not a lot of guys that look that appealing in the 5K range. I would play Clark over Aldridge, play him over Rui, play him over Keldon Johnson. So in the 5K range, it's probably Brendan Clark. 4K range, I don't really want to play Rudy Gay. Don't know how much he'll play. I think Bertans is a interesting option. He's 4,400. He plays similar minutes every night. If he's playing really well, he'll get into the 30s. He's GPP play. Should not be faded on a 2-game slate if you're maxing out any tournaments. Should definitely have a sprinkle of Bertans just because he can catch fire. And even though he's been bad most of the games this season, he still has a chance to go out there and put up like 40, 45. And if that does happen, he would be an absolutely necessity on a 2-game slate. I do like Lyles a bit. He's 4,100. His minutes have been there. His playing time has shot way up since Aldridge has moved to the bench. He's been shooting the ball pretty well. I think he definitely makes a strong option at 4,100 if he starts again, which I do think he will. So go with Lyles and DeRozan, 2 Spurs that have been playing well, and I think both will get some good minutes tonight. And still leaves with 5,350. So that's pretty much it for the DraftKings slide. If we're looking at some value plays in the 3K range, I think you can look to Denny Avdija, who's 3,100. His minutes Definitely fluctuate like a lot of these Wizards players besides Beal and Westbrook, but does give you the upside to get you 6, 7, 8x at 3,100. Mo Wagner is also 3,200. He also gives you a big time ceiling, although his floor is like 3 DraftKings points, which is scary, but if you do give him a couple of rotations against Memphis, I think he can hit you close to 20, if not a little bit more than 20 DraftKings points. And like you can look to Robin Lopez. There's like 3 guys in the 3K range that look somewhat playable, and then you have Vija, Mo Wagner, Lopez, and then maybe Tyus Jones. But pretty much it for the breakdown. Only 2 games, so let's go ahead and look at FanDuel's pricing. All right, over here on FanDuel, looking at the point guard options, you got Russell Westbrook below 10,000. We have DeJounte Murray 85, then Ja Morant. They moved Luka to small forward. So if you're wondering where Luka was, he's now sitting at small forward, leading the way at 11,000, almost double the price of the next option. Like Kyle Anderson is a couple $1,000 if you double his price tag, cheaper or more expensive than Luka. But back to point guard, it's Westbrook. It's Westbrook, then Ja Morant is my 2 favorites. DeJounte Murray would be 3rd. And then the 4th, I would probably have to be Derek White, although I don't have a ton of confidence right now in him and just coming back after missing some time. But that was due to like protocol. It wasn't due to his toe that he was dealing with. So that's at least encouraging. I think I'll definitely have definitely one of Ja Morant or Westbrook, probably both. But go ahead, plug in Westbrook for now. Shooting guard, like on DraftKings, you can make the case to go Beal over Westbrook, but on FanDuel, I think it's really tough to do that. With Beal being 10-5, he'll be low owned, I'll give you that, but I really don't want to pay 10,500 for Beal when I can get to Westbrook at 98. So that's the reason. Like I'm gonna be playing Westbrook on FanDuel, so I hopefully he has a good game and he does well on DraftKings as well. DeRozan looks like a guy that we definitely can get to at 86. Dylan Brooks looks so much better than DeAnthony Melton. Don't know why he's cheaper than him. And then you have Lonnie Walker if he starts again, although his minutes are going to be down, like a lot of the Spurs are, with them returning like 4 or 5 guys, or 3 or 4 guys. But it's going to be Dylan Brooks. He's only 56. His minutes are secure. There's a couple of guys here that look appealing. The rest, like Beal, is tough to get to. Melton is tough to get to. Don't really know about Lonnie Walker right now. And then like below 3K or 4K, you have like Desmond Bane as a loan option at 35. But I feel like Dylan Brooks is going to have a solid enough game at 5,600. Small forward, you definitely can try to get to a couple of studs here. Winslow is almost 5,000. He's still in play, but he looks a lot better on DraftKings. You have Avdija 4,000. So once again, he looks better on DraftKings. On FanDuel, you have Luka. I think I can make a case to get to both Westbrook and Luka on FanDuel. Just with how bad small forward is as a position, like Luka could easily double the score of like any of these other options that if you choose to fade him. So I'll go with Luka and Westbrook. I think I can get to both of them pretty easily. We'll have to go a bit cheaper at power forward, which is not the worst thing because besides Porzingis, you don't have a pay up option here. I think you can look to Davis Bertans, but I do like Trey Lyles is 47. You have Wagner is 4,000 if you wanted to roll the dice on him. He's risky, but he could definitely pay off on a 2-game slate. But it's going to be Trey Lyles. I assume he'll start. He's been solid. He's been playing a ton better than Aldridge, so should get more minutes than Aldridge, and he's been playing a lot better than him. So hopefully he scores more more FanDuel points than Aldridge. And at center, you could even get to Valanciunas if you wanted to. You could get to Jakob Poeltl at 65. Alex Len, Robin Lopez. They aren't that appealing. If Wagner was a center option, I'd maybe consider playing him if he was 4,000. But just only have 2 guys that really look playable. It's Valanciunas and Poeltl. If you play Valanciunas, you're still left with 54.75, so you just have to go cheap at some spots. But I think that is the way that I would go. Pay up for Luka, pay up for Westbrook, and then still get to Valanciunas and feel good about your lineup. So that's it. Quick 2-game slate to start out the second half of the season. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hit the like button if you guys enjoyed. I really appreciate that. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you all later.